Today our focus is going to be on some twisting. If you're someone who sits at a desk a lot or does a lot of bilateral training like squats and deadlifts all going this way, it's quite nice to get some side to side movement. So we're going to start off really simply. We're just going to rotate and get the torso warmed up. As you feel a little more free, I want you to imagine you're kind of punching someone over your shoulder, letting the eyes follow, letting the head follow. You can play around with the foot position. You can go a bit wider. You can come a bit narrower, you'll get a little bit more feeling in the hips, depending on what position you are more tight in. So just be nice and loose, really reaching round. As you get warmer, let the eyes and head follow, you'll get a little more movement that way. Cool, we're going to come to the floor. We're going to sit just in a cross-legged position. And really simply, we're just going to rotate, reach round, push slightly, and twist. Don't go too crazy, just because twists are something that sometimes you don't do a lot of. So if you feel quite tight in it, don't try and push too much at the start. We're breathing in, shoulders to ears. As you breathe out, try and rotate a little more. This hand can push a little more if you want to, but make sure you're staying nice and tall. We're not leaning back, we're not hunching forwards. We're trying to stay tall with the spine and just rotating through. We're going to do the other side, same thing, reach up and across, push in slightly and rotate round and through. Same thing, breathe up, shoulders to ears, and then as you breathe out, drop the shoulders down. Let your head guide you, don't crank your neck, don't try and go too far, just try and keep your head nice and in line with the shoulders and let your eyes move across. We're going to switch the legs, so if you fold it one way, just fold the other way. I'll kind of move to the side, you can see again. So we're going to come up, across, hand goes behind, nice and tall, reach around. If you want to here, you can sit on a block or a cushion. It will just alleviate some of that tension. You can have a brick underneath your hand if you want to. I'm going to not spend too long here because I want to try and get through quite a lot of stuff today. So same thing, up and across, reaching around, twisting. Let the eyes look across and follow. I'm going to try and fit in quite a few things today. Cool, we're going to come onto our back. Really simply, just windshield wiper those knees in this supine position. It's a little less threatening. We can just get the hips going as well. You can have the feet a bit wider. That will get a little more into the hip, or you come a bit narrower. You don't have to hit the floor. You can have the knees together. We're just trying to get some movement in the hip as well as that lumbar spine. Cool, and slowly rock, get a little bit of flexion in, then we can sit up. I'm going to go one of my little favourite kind of yoga variations. We're going to clasp both our hands together on the outside of the knee, and we're just going to push and twist. You're going to use this kind of force in your hands to create a little bit of a twisted movement. If you want to, you can make the step a bit longer. I'll show you in a second on the other side what that might look like. But you're just going to reach around and twist, and same thing, breathe in, as you breathe out, look up towards the sky. You can look kind of underneath your armpit, pushing both hands together. You're getting a little bit of hip in there. You can lean forwards a bit more, you can lean back a bit more, but roughly start with the knee over the ankle and roughly at like a 90-degree position. Switch sides, I'll show you from a slightly different angle on this side. So we'll come through, reaching round first and down and across, same thing. You come forward a bit, back a bit, but I would start roughly so your knee is over your ankle. That back foot can move a bit further back if you want to. You'll get a bit more in the hip flexor of this hip over here, and you just want to try and take same thing. Twist, push your hands together, twist up and over, and you'll feel this nice active stretch through the side. And then you're going to slowly come out that side. One of my favourite little hugging stretches, you can keep the foot straight and come up and across, or if you're fairly mobile, you can bend that knee and come up across. Same thing, if you sit on something, it'll be a bit easier. You're then just going to hug that knee. You can start by just hugging it here. If you are able to, you can tuck that foot a bit closer. You can wrap the elbow around and you can squeeze, or you can hug with both sides. The big thing is that you're trying to get the opposite shoulder and knee to be close to each other, and then you're going to move away from it. So this is my left leg, this is my right shoulder, I'm reaching back and towards, so I'm looking over now my left shoulder. You should feel this nice active stretch in this hip. Same thing, I'll show you again from the other side, but just squeeze, shoulders up, and then relax and twist around. This feels really nice for me. It's a really nice one to do in the morning. You can even do this if you're sitting in bed. Just try and get a nice twist. It's really nice to open up the hip as well as getting some twisting through the spine. Same thing, big breath. I like to actually feel my belly button expand into my thigh and then relax and twist. Cool, we'll slowly come out of there. We'll switch side, I'll show you from this angle. The legs straight, it's actually normally a bit easier for people. You can just start by here, moving across, that's plenty if that's for you. You can tuck that foot in and you get a bit more leverage to squeeze from. I like to clasp and then grab. You can grab both, you can grab through here. For me, I get more rotation through my shoulder. If I just let that shoulder open, I've got enough closeness here. My elbow can hold, I can clasp my hand. You can go like this, whatever you kind of feel like. Same thing, be tall, so we're not slumped, but we're tall first, twisting across. Don't crack the neck, just let the eyes follow or help get a little more range. Breathe in, breathe out, twist and open. Couple more, breathe in, breathe out. I'd highly recommend, if this feels good, just stay here a bit longer. But just for brevity, I'm going to try and move us through. So you're going to come over here. We're going to go to the seated windshield wiper now. So it's going to shorten that position through the hip. So it's a little tighter. Same thing, if you want to sit on some bricks or sit on a cushion, sit on a blanket, we'll just make it a bit easier, you have a bit more range. For me, I'm quite internally rotated through that hip. I get a little tightness and pinch, so I can kind of straighten the legs a little, be a little less, but just a bit more active through those windshield wipers, moving across. Okay, we can kind of go into those bear positions which we did in 1990. You can do them single leg if you want to create a little more open of the hip, or we can go double, and you get a bit more movement of the lumbar spine together. From here, we're actually going to go to standing. We're going to try and make it a bit active now. So I'm going to show you in two different angles. We're going to start off with our feet relatively close, they can be together, a bit of balance will be hip distance apart, and then we're going to come down into like a mini squat, then we're going to twist, much like we did in that position. From there, make sure this knee isn't popping forwards, so we're creating a little more of a twist. I'll show you from an angle in a second, and we're opening, being nice and active in that twist. From there, I'll just twist and pivot. We're going to reach that back leg, or opposite leg, back, and then down. So we're in this nice now active twist, just like we were with our knee down, but now we're much more active. I'm still pressing really hard together, I'm still reaching, and this back leg is nice and active, and I'm reaching. I can go a little lower, I can twist a little more, we're just being nice and active. And then we're going to slowly bring that back foot in with control, and then really slowly, you might have actually created a lot of length here, so just be really gentle, come through, bend the knees, slowly come to standing. I'll do the other side, try and do it maybe from this angle so you can see it better with the knees. So we're coming down, rotating through, a bit short of spaces, so I might just pivot around so you can see a bit better. And then we're going to reach that back leg, back, whilst we're still twisting, coming through, breathing in and out. Having this nice open twist, but nice active legs now. You can play around with the position. I'm going to breathe. Same thing. Try a bit more of a twist. And then we're going to slowly bring that foot back before you release the twist. And then bend the knees, be nice and gentle. Come out of it, nice and standing. From there, the last thing I'm going to do, you're just going to go supine. Nice simple lower back twist. Ooh. We're going to come up and across, and then come back and through. So we're going to be active and dynamic at the same time. So up and across and through. If you have a bit of space, a bit short space, we can straighten that leg and go with a straight leg. That way you'll get a little more tension as you come through. If you shorten the lever and keep it bent, it'll just make it a little less. You don't have to go super far. You're trying to keep both shoulders on the floor as you reach up and around, relaxing the neck as much as you can, up and around. Cool, thank you for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed it.